Hi everyone, thank you for joining us on OpenLine tonight. My name is Chris Conti. I am joined by Gordon Bonnyman from the Tennessee Justice Center, and we are talking tonight about living in the gap. 280,000 Tennesseans who are stuck without health insurance because the state has decided not to take nearly $1 billion in federal funds that could help expand some of this coverage for a lot of folks. We know that people have a lot of questions out there. We were talking about this on Facebook Live a little while ago, so we want to go ahead and try to get to some of these folks. We have Sheila, who is on line one. Sheila, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you.
Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from White House, Tennessee.
Okay, and what's your question or your concern?
I have a comment and a question also. I've been dealing with this same issue, and thank you, Chris, for addressing this. I just saw it when I got home tonight, and I have been really frustrated for the last 2 weeks. I'm a 53-year-old single person. I have a son in college, and I'm going through the same thing. I just recently changed jobs, in the process of changing jobs. 2 weeks ago, back in March of 2015, I fell in the ice and broke my wrist. I too was like the gentleman you spoke with. I had a steel plate and screws put in it immediately after it happened. Went to my surgeon that did this 2 weeks ago, and was told after x-rays that the screws have come loose. They're pressing on the main nerve. They're causing nerve damage. I'm not even supposed to drive, but being a single person, I have to drive because my son is away at college, about to graduate in 2 weeks, and so I'm by myself.
And so do you have health insurance right now?
No, sir, I do not. I'm in the process of changing jobs. I had a chance to go on Cobra, but the Cobra is $1,600 a month for 3 months, and I cannot afford that. The hospital that did the surgery told me that they do not do, the surgeon said they do not do self-pay. He referred me to the financial department at the local hospital where I had it done in Tennessee, and they too asked me, did I apply for TennCare? I said, no, I did not. However, they brought someone down from TennCare. They asked me one question. They said, do you have a child in your house under the age of 18? I said, no, I'm 53. I have a 23-year-old graduating in 2 weeks. They said, well, you do not qualify. So the lady proceeded to try to help me with the financial aid, but she called me back the next day and said, I'm sorry, you're going to have to go through the chain of command, the process of applying for TennCare through DHS. And I said, well, I don't even know how to do that. I've never been without insurance in my whole entire life. I too have worked since I was old enough to get a work permit in the state of Kentucky, and I've lived in Tennessee for 23 years.
Okay, so let me interrupt you there, and let me see if I can have Gordon here help you a little bit. So, I mean, she obviously, she's one of these folks who doesn't qualify for TennCare. So what kind of options does she have?
Well, Sheila, first, I can't imagine what you're going through with the screw pressing on your nerve. That just sounds terrible. And your situation really is typical. People get emergency care, as you did, immediately after the accident. But after that, when your life is no longer in danger, or when you're not faced with some really dire catastrophe, that's when the financial barriers become insurmountable, and people languish like that. They can't go back to work. They're in pain, and oftentimes that can lead to permanent disability. I think, Sheila, all I know to tell you to do is to call our office. We're a nonprofit public interest law firm.
I believe we have the slide and with your information up there.
Yeah, right. 615-255-0331. We will see if we can find anything, connect you to any care, although I'm not very hopeful because it sounds like you've already been diligent about trying to find something on your own. If you're willing to share it, we'd like to get your story so that we can use that to convince our state legislators that they need to change the policy and accept the federal dollars. What we find is stories like yours strip away the statistics, the political rhetoric, and people focus on the reality that these are real people with real, they're our neighbors. Right. And we need to do something about it.
And that was kind of the purpose and some of the thought behind the piece that we aired this evening was we were, the aim was not necessarily to politicize this and kind of delve into those muddy waters. The goal was to just show what it is like for these people that are stuck in this gap, and that this could become anyone's reality. One domino falls, and that's it. I mean, this could be you. This could be I. I mean, it could, and it's really scary in a sense when you sit and think about this and just realize that, wow, this could be me. I mean, this could really be anyone. I mean,
slip on ice. How many of us have ever done that?
Right.
And this is not about Obama. I think that's the reason why the legislature refused to do it, is because they've had strong feelings about President Obama and about Obamacare. He's about to leave office. We think it's time to move on and focus on Tennesseans. Let's
see if we can get to some more calls here. We have Brent, who I believe is on line 2. Brent, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, and where are you calling from?
Nashville.
From Nashville. Okay, and are you currently insured? Do you have health insurance?
No, I do not.
Do not. Okay, and so
I simply can't afford it. I'm working, but I moved up here from Memphis after losing my job a few years ago with a company I thought would never lay me off. After 20 plus years, couldn't find a job in Memphis. I was told by 2 recruiters in Memphis I'm too old at 51, so I left the company I was working for, which I won't mention the name of the company. It was just basically a home improvement store. I actually left that place and moved up here to Nashville because I couldn't find anything. I tried for 5 years to find a job in Memphis, couldn't find anything, making decent money. So I left that job and came up here to Nashville to work for another company to hopefully get back into the IT field, which is what I was doing at the company I worked for in Memphis. Couldn't find anything. Planned on trying to get back in the IT field. Well, that company laid off 300 people, so I went back to the home improvement store.
Yeah.
Well, like I said, I'm only making half of what I was making at the major corporation I was working for in Memphis. I'll let you figure who that out is, who that person is, or that company is.
And
came up here, and I'm paying outrageous rent. I'm paying outrageous bills. I'm doing good, put food on the table, and I waited to the last minute last year to pay my income tax because I figured I was going to have to pay a penalty because I have no insurance.
Right.
Then I knew before I walked in the door I couldn't afford Obamacare because I can't pay the premiums, I can't pay the deductibles, I can't pay anything. So I walk in, went down to the Franklin Grace Works Ministries because I could get my taxes done for free. Walked in and said, I've got 14 things you can qualify for to get health insurance. I said, miss, I bet you I don't qualify for any of them. Sure enough, I didn't qualify for any of them. I had filed bankruptcy in the last 6 months. I did that 6 years ago. Made less than $27,000. I made $31,000.
Yeah.
I got 14 no's.
So let me ask you: Have you ever not had health insurance before? Is this the first time in your life?
I have. I can't afford it. Even after I lost my job, I was on COBRA for about a year or so, and got to where it was too expensive. Now I was before because I tried for 5 years to keep losing my house. Lost my house because I couldn't pay the house note, and I walked away from the home because they wouldn't work with me. So I moved up here and had to start over at my age. I'm 54 years of age.
And still having problems here.
My biggest problem is the fact I'm over 50. Nobody wants to hire me and pay me what I'm worth.
Right.
I'm making half of what I was making at the company I was working for in Memphis.
Let me put this to Gordon here, and we'll talk about this because this is something that is another big issue here. I think there is this stigma attached to some of these people in this coverage gap that they're lazy and that they don't want to work and that they just want to, get a paycheck from the government and, be done with it. But there are so many people out there like Brent who want to work or are working. I mean, he's working, but he just can't make enough money.
Right.
I mean, he can barely afford food to eat. So obviously, insurance is not going to rank high on someone's list when barely being able to afford rent and food is a problem.
Right, but every day you get up in the morning, you're taking a gamble that you won't get sick or you won't have an accident, because if you lose that gamble, you are really in deep trouble.
And that's what so many people
said.
So many people. Let's see if we can get to some calls here. There's a lot of people calling in. Folks, we do hear you, and we're trying to get through some of these. I believe we have Tabitha. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Thanks for waiting. Where are you calling from?
Nashville, Tennessee.
Okay, and do you currently have health insurance?
No, sir, I don't.
You do not. Okay, and what is your question for Gordon here?
Okay, my question is, I used to be on TennCare, and they just up and took me off of TennCare. And never did tell me why I didn't qualify for it. So like it is now, if I get sick, I have to go back and forth to the hospital, and each time that I'm going, just was, heart attacks and, different things. they send me a bill, or they calling me telling me, well, how you gonna pay for this, or how you gonna pay for anything. I don't have any money. I don't have no income. I take care of my special need daughter, and she has taken care of herself.
Right.
But I'm the one that's in the middle that don't have any insurance. So it's just basically I'm just out of luck. So if I go
Right.
to a hospital, and then once I have it done, a procedure or whatever done, then the next following week,
You get
they
bills.
sending me a bill
Right.
telling me or calling me, well, Miss Williams, how you going to pay for this?
Right. And hold on for a second there. What Tabitha's explaining is something, again, that we see a lot of. What
I'm
maybe
struck
can she
by
do?
her. Well, I'm struck, Tabitha, by your talking about caring for your special needs daughter. I mean, if you can't take care of yourself, it's those of us who fly on an airplane. We hear the announcement: if something happens and the oxygen drops down, put it on yourself before you try to take care of the person next to you, or both of you are going to be in trouble. If you can't maintain your health, where is your daughter going to be? So my heart goes out to you and to your daughter, because I know the stress that you're living with, not being able to maintain coverage.
Is there any way for her to get maybe some of these questions about her 10-care coverage answered? I mean, about how...
Please call us at 615-255-0331. I don't know that we can help you, but if we can, we will try. And as I would say to everybody who's without coverage, if we can get you covered, we will. And if we won't, and you want to share your story, we find these stories move people's minds and hearts, and we appreciate the courage of people like in your story, Chris, who had the courage to step forward and say, this is the reality.
And it is not an easy thing to admit. I mean, it is not an easy thing to say, I have hundreds of thousands of dollars in medical bills.
These are proud people who work and don't want to be in that situation.
Right. We are going to take a quick break here. We know that there are a lot of you on hold here who are trying to get your questions in. We are going to try to get to as many of you as possible. Again, the number to call is 615-737-PLUS. And this conversation about living in the gap will continue coming up after the break.